staying in this hotel in Puebla. Nobody's there. Fast forward, come back, get kidnapped for 4 days. It was an extortion deal.
How was that transition, though? Because you went from radio to acting to working with Lionsgate. What did that neighborhood and growing up around Black people, Mexican people, Samoan people, what did they teach you?
I was like the gringo who people would listen to.
Radio is slowly, I want to say,
Dying?
yes, little by little. Do you think these platforms have a lot to do with that?
All right.
That's a good one.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
Bill Shadorf is, he's been in the space for such a long time. And it's super dope to have you here, my brother.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
But I want to know, and they want to know, how did you start your career?
Man, that's a loaded question. It's a loaded
And why radio?
question. I mean, if we really want to know how I started my career, I busted into a party. My brother told me about this big radio guy. Shout out to Ed Cranf. He was running a big station, a big alternative station in San Francisco. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do, right? I was just a kid with nothing. I had a 750 Hurricane. That was my transportation. I was pretty much homeless, living with my girlfriend, Shauna, who's now my wife. And I busted into this party, and I had his name. And I said, hey, they're like, kid, who are you? And I said, I'm Bill. I'm looking for Ed Cranf. And they said, does he know you? And I was like, no, he doesn't. They said, okay, he's over there. He had these acid wash jeans on. Shook his hand. Hey, I want to get in a radio. I wanted to be on the radio. Uh-huh. He's like, hey, kid, look, meet me for a cup of coffee. You got to bounce. You shouldn't be here. I left, hooked up with him. He made it very tough on me. Fast forward, landed my first gig at KOME. Don't touch that dial. There's cum on it. You know, back in those days, no woke stuff over here, you know? And I was just like, I was 23 years old. I couldn't believe it. You know, the card, the radio card. Back then, radio was fire. It was dope. It was where you wanted to be. It was entertainment.
It was the thing and the place to be at, right?
There was nothing else.
Exactly. There was no social media back then.
No. So
I'm not trying to age you here. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm an old man.
You're pretty young. You're pretty young.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So I started my radio career, and it was crazy from there.
But 23 years old.
Yeah, 23 going on 24.
And what was your first actual? Did you automatically go on radio?
No,
or you worked through the. So you started at the bottom and then worked yourself up.
Yeah, so I was such a good seller getting the gig. You know, I didn't know shit. Okay, and I was like, okay, where do I start? What, you know, I'll be on overnights. We had a guy, Carson Daly, doing our overnights.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, and
wow.
Yeah, and this dude, Jim Pratt, brilliant producer, brilliant. Shout out to Jim Pratt.
Salute.
Yeah, and they're like, you know what, kid? You're going into sales. I was like, sales? Yeah, we got Howard Stern on in the afternoon at that time. No, Howard was actually on in evenings, I think. And Greaseman, you don't know who Greaseman is.
No, but I know who Howard Stern is.
Yeah, Greaseman was before Howard. Greaseman was crazy. No brand deals for him, right? No brand deals for Howard either. So I was this kid just like, whoa, I love these guys. All right, sales, I'm in. My boss at the time, Rich Kahn, shout out Rich, my first boss, and Nick Marnell, who sniffed glue, by the way. He gave me he said, here, put out your hand. Put out my hand, put like 200 dimes in my hand. Now I'm really aging myself here. He said, don't come back until you used every dime. I would go to these pay phones, find a retail location, a snake shop, put in the dime, call them up, cold call them. Hey, I'm Bill with Howard Stern. I want to come see you. Okay, come on in. Hung up the phone, walked in the door, and closed the deal. I just had a natural instinct for what I love, what I believed in, even though I really didn't know at that time.
Wow.
So I finished all the dimes, needless to say.
That's what I was going to say. But the younger ones, they're probably like, what did he use those dimes for?
Right.
It's a pay phone. That's what it was for. Wow. So then that's what got you into that opened a lot of doors for you.
Man, it did. I mean, it did. Yeah, not yet. Not yet. I had a lot of proving to do, but what it got me is front row seats to Metallica. I was loving it. It got me promotions, radio promotions, and then my career started going, and I love music, right? So I was passionate, and then like maybe 3 months into the gig, they're like, hey, we're going to flip KOME to the new KOME. We're going to create this new alternative station. Shout out to Kevin Weatherly, K-Rock here in LA.
K-Rock? Wow.
Yeah, so he was the one who built the new KOME. So I was the first kid. I went to every single club in San Jose and the Bay Area, like within 2 days before we flipped. I said, hey, we're flipping to this station. I want your account, and we're going to do shows here. And they're like, okay, let's see what's going on. I go back to KOME, fill out all the account forms. We flip. Now we have Bush, we have Nirvana, we have Pearl Jam, we have Hole, all these different groups that were about to blow up. And boom, that's when my career, I owned the Bay Area. I owned every club. And yeah, I started to make my mark then.
Nirvana,
you name the bands in the 90s, the late 90s, I've done shows with them, small shows.
So then did you interact with Kurt Cobain?
I didn't interact with Kurt Cobain, but I interacted with his wife, Courtney. I had some crazy times with Courtney, for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Nothing intimate, but if you know Courtney, some out of control moments, for sure.
Some partying involved there.
Yeah.
And you were how old?
Now I was 24. Yeah.
And that was the beginning.
That was the beginning.
That's a hell of a beginning.
It was. I was loving it. It wasn't work. At that point, I was just loving it. It was entertainment. I kind of always knew that I just knew, my childhood was a little rough. My mom was nuts. And I was always running. But I always have been very spiritual. So I just kind of went with it. I went with the flow, and I knew I'd get somewhere. And my wife, Shauna, who, we've been married 27 years.
Congrats.
Together 30 years, our whole life, pretty much. So she was with me, and without her, through all this growth, I would not be here. Trust me.
You always need a solid partner that always has your back, and it seems like that was the case for you. Because that's a long time.
Man, a saint, an angel.
Wow,
for sure. Yeah.
So let's go back to your childhood. Do you think you said your mom was a little bit, you had a tough
nasty
upbringing?
It's okay.
She was nasty. Do you think that allowed you to develop like thick skin and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna go get what I want?
Yeah. I don't think you really identified as a kid, but yes, it gave me a drive and a confidence. Some kids are beaten down from it. you know, for me, it was my destiny. I mean, she helped me in the long run. God bless her. You know, my parents landed up living with me. That's a whole nother thing when we moved out here. You know, the Mexican community that I grew up with as well taught me about, you know, regardless, you take care of your parents. So, you know, yes, but her craziness drove me to want more, for sure.
You brought up a key point. Some of those experiences do beat down kids.
Man, hey.
And it's tough. But for people like you and for people like me, I just think it helped us develop that resiliency. Like, nah, fuck that. Let's go get it.
100.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So salute to that, my brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's tough, but I think it teaches you so many valuable lessons.
You know, it does. And for me personally, it taught me how to be a great father. And it gave me, and you know, we're all born differently, right? Like, I think we're all born with different wants and needs. And for me, I look at the human race as somewhat greedy, you know, and
That's
so
a fair assessment.
You know what I mean? And so for me, it made me want to be a dad. That's all I really wanted in life. I never was money hungry. I never, you know, when I radio for me was fun and I found a career, but ultimately I wanted to be where I'm at now. I wanted to be a father. I got 2 beautiful boys and they're thriving. And so, you know, God bless you. So that was my ultimate goal.
So in essence, I feel that maybe the things you went through as a kid prepared you to be the best version of a father that in your mind was like, okay, this is what it takes to be a dad. I've been through this, and I don't want to go through that, so I got to be this version.
Man, I wanted to change the family bloodline when it comes to that. Family for me is everything. And so, yeah, it gave me the foundation, 100%. You know, not having any material things as a kid, I was surrounded by the wealthy. And then I lived in East Menlo, but I was raised in EPA. And EPA, when I was growing up, was like the murder capital of the country. And no one really knows that, but East Palo Alto was nasty. But at the same time,
That's up north.
That's in the Bay, yeah. But at the same time, the values that I got there, I basically lived in the Boys and Girls Club over there. Shout out to Dante Tops. Shout out to Gregory Green and the McAllister boys. And, and unfortunately, when I moved here, I lost contact with all those guys. You know, they grew up in the hood. It was a blood hood. And, I kind of had all these experiences that really rounded me out as a kid. Samoans, the Black community, and the Hispanic community was where I really fit in the most too. So I was born with all this flavor, and then when I would hang out with the wealthy white kids, I always felt super out of place.
It's just 2 different dynamics,
Like,
it's
black
like night
and
and day.
white, man.
Yeah.
So
What did that neighborhood and growing up around Black people, Mexican people, Samoan people, what did they teach you?
family, having little to next to nothing, and being resilient. There's a lot of trouble that comes with it. I don't think people are born equally, and I don't think it's fair. And that's kind of how I got into the whole Spanish language radio thing. But I was like the gringo who people would listen to, and so it was beautiful. I mean, to this day, my best memories are over there. 100%. You know, it's not the nice cars, the nice house. With my family, sure, but, you know, you can never get that rawness in life when you kind of move up. You know, you got to maintain it and you got to reflect on it. Yeah, and so it gave me that, you know, that inner confidence, like I could move anywhere. I'm comfortable anywhere.
You remember the first time we met?
The first time we met
at that movie premiere.
Yeah, of course.
I felt that because you right away were like, "Hey, what's up, brother? I gotta get on your podcast."
Yeah, well, hey,
and I was like, "Whoa,
yeah.
What's going on here?" You know. So
well, I gotta
like
give
you moved like he's like, well, it was your movie premiere, you know.
Yeah,
but
thank you.
It was, yeah. I get what you're saying.
Well, hey, I gotta tell you, I told you this earlier. I'm here. I was super excited to be here because you're really good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so much,
hey,
brother.
To everybody, this is the start of something big, how we always do it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. It's thank you, man. You've been around some big names. So I think, you know, it's a little extra special, you know. I'm like, oh man, thank you so much. You know, it means everything to me. People don't see the behind the scenes of some of the shit I got to go through.
Well, I'm impressed.
This is like a lot. And people just be like, hey, and my audience does get demanding, like, hey, it's Monday. Why haven't you posted an episode? I'm like, dude, we're having technical difficulties in the back end. But it just means a lot that, you know, people see what the end product and see that, and it's pretty good, you know.
You're just starting.
Oh yeah,
This is just
the beginning.
Yeah, hey, I'm at a lot of places. This is good.
Thank you, my
This
brother.
is good, and I'm a logo guy. Fire.
Look at that mic in there.
I love that. Like, I want to get a hoodie with that and rock that.
I'll get you one.
Yeah, that is dope.
Thank you so much, man. So, all right, let's get back to you, Bill.
Okay.
So after you were working with Nirvana and all the other groups you mentioned, where did your career take you then?
So so there's a band called Smash Mouth. Shout out to Steve Harwell, who just passed. So I told you about my 750 I used to ride, right? So now, I started off on a draw. That's how they did it. $2,500. That's it. A draw against commission. So whatever you sell, if you don't sell over that draw, you owe the company money. So when I first started, I was in a $7,000, $12,000 hole, right? And so I wanted, but I was investing in myself, and I was like, you know what? I want to get a Harley. And because my boss, he's like, you got to get a car, man. You can't, you know. I said, fuck it, I want to get a Harley. So I hooked up with this dude, and his name was Steve. We meet at this taqueria in San Jose. We're chatting it up. He's like, hey, I could get you a bike. I said, cool. He goes, well, we'll come in a box. It'll be here in a couple weeks. How much money? I was like, dude, I can't buy a motorcycle in a box. I can't, you know what's up with that, right? And by the way, it was coming from LA. And at that time, I was all about NorCal. I never thought I'd live here. I was Yay area all the way. I mean, shout out to E40, shout out to Yeski, shout out to Be Legit, Too Short, all those cats. So long story, I said, dude, I can't do this. I said, what else do you do?
Do you live in Southern California and are you looking to buy, sell, or refinance one of your properties? What better agent to represent you than the host of True Hustle Podcast? Go ahead, give us a call or send us a text at 323-352-7946. Now let's get back to the episode, baby.
He's like, man, I'm in the best band in the world. We're going to be superstars. I said, really? Okay, well, I work at KOME, the new KOME. He's like, oh, yeah, Justin, my boy's there. Justin, okay, that's my dude. Shout out Justin Whitmire. Go to his apartment. It's this big. The band, Smash Mouth, I mean, hey, sold probably 9 million units the first record. Walking on the Sun, might as well be walking on the sun. You guys know, All-Star, a bunch of different songs. I go there, I'm like, damn, okay, I love the sound. Next thing you know, my wife, my girlfriend at the time, we're going to all these clubs and we're promoting this band Smash Mouth.
Wow.
2 people, 10 people, 50 people. And then we go and create a showcase here in LA off Sunset. Shout out to Pamela Jawan. I don't know where you are from Atlantic Records now, but we had Atlantic, we had Interscope, we had Universal. And that was one of the coolest moments of my life, I will say. I was with Carson, Jim, Justin. We were going crazy in LA, young kids, and we were doing this showcase. Fast forward, Smash Mouth signs to Interscope, and Spun Out Records took Smash Mouth. They, within literally 4 weeks, were doing a video, their first video, for Walking on the Sun at FX. Shit. FX in San Jose, and then boom, everything changes. MTV blows up, Smash Mouth's on the move, and I just saw what it was like to believe in something, push it forward. I get an offer, my first real big radio job offer, to move to San Francisco at that time for K101. Ryan Seacrest was the afternoon drive guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was by myself in San Francisco, 6 figures.
When?
I got to do the math, but I want to say like 1999 or something like that. Maybe, yeah, like 98. And
6-figure check.
Yeah, well, you still had to earn it,
Yeah.
but the book of business could generate like 120,000.
It's a lot of money.
Hey, it's how I bought the ring for my wife. We started putting money away for our first house, and she had a great job. She was taking care of me in the beginning. Like, I had nothing. Zip, I mean, no gas to fill up that 750,
Oh,
So,
shit.
yeah, that was a process. Getting my feet wet in San Francisco because back then radio was still it, man. And so, yeah, I landed up climbing the ranks, and then I became a local sales manager. And in that time, it was called AM/FM radio, which then became Clear Channel.
Oh, okay.
And now it's iHeart. And hey, hashtag. One of these days, you could be on that platform, do a Spotify deal. I could see it, but
That's the goal.
I think you're pretty much there. Honestly, yeah, I think I love that channel. Yeah.
Damn. All right. I'm getting pumped.
Yeah, me
Bill's
too.
getting me pumped.
Hey, this is the first time I've gone through my career ever. So it's a pleasure to do that.
Man, that means it's a True Hustle exclusive,
Yes,
baby.
baby.
Man, I want to hear it all. All right. So then what happened next?
Okay. So I work my way up. I get married. Dawn Blue in the morning. Now I'm at an AC station, adult AC, K101, the biggest station in San Francisco. Really the most renowned AC station in the country at the time. I get married. I'm the local sales manager there, and then I land up running Wild 93.9, which is the one of the bigger hip hop stations in the country, and Cameo radio. And so now I'm in hip hop. I'm in my zone, and I have this office with a big Arizona iced tea cooler filled with beer, right? And different things. I'm going against the grain, man. I don't know about corporate America. I'm just a kid from, the Bay that landed up here. At that time, I didn't even know how to write an email. I graduated college. Hey, I'll say this. Hey, I never studied. I pretty much cheated my way through high school. I played football, got to San Diego State somehow, but I never studied. So as I was growing, all this, like, you got to send emails to, this guy and that guy, the head guy. And, I was tripping, but I kind of learned how to do it as I was going. But now I was at Wild, crushing it, but I was out of control. Like E40 was we were in my office partying. I was going to Oakland in my suit, taking my suit off, changing it, meeting Ieski at this little breakfast joint, creating music. Now I started representing Furious and Ghazi, who now owns Empire, the president, CEO, shout out to Empire. And wow. I was really out of control. Like I was just doing everything I kind of felt was a dream, and I loved music, and I had an ear for what a hit sounded like. Uh-huh. So I started building that reputation. And at that time, all these ratings for Spanish language, they were skyrocketing. And I couldn't understand it, but I knew the community, right? Uh-huh. And it started to take over. So I decided, this is the biggest move I made in my career, which was I decided I want to go to Univision. So they recruited me over there. I started running KXOL in San Francisco, and I flipped a format to like a mega here, which I flipped here, by the way. That was me who flipped it into a bilingual station back in that was like 15 years ago. So we started so we took Univision from like 5 million to 13 million in a year. And damn. Yeah, and I was bringing my hip hop artists to the Univision concerts and having them open for like, I want to say, I know we did a small show in Mana, a couple of those. I can't even remember, but we did the big artists back then. And I just kind of dominated, and Univision landed up moving my family and my parents here to LA. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I know, and it gets crazier.
Oh, I want to hear.
It gets crazier. When I first started at Univision, probably 6 months in. So I was like, shit, I understand the revenue game, and I just had a feel, right? Like here, I could feel who would want to be a part of this. It just is what I knew, I guess. We're doing a Cinco de Mayo event, right? Uh-huh. And I was like, so the idea when you're doing big market radio is you're competing with everyone else, and it's all about growing share. So Univision Radio at the time was doing about 50 million. And I was always kind of thinking, how can we take it to the next level? KSCA, K-Love, KTNQ, and Recuerdo. Those were the stations.
Recuerdo, dang.
Yeah. And see,
that's my dad's station right there.
Yeah.
Recuerdo.
Yeah. And I know I still
Bill, you just did something to me right now. That's my dad's station.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, and
right.
and we started just destroying it. So when Cinco de Mayo rolled around, I was like, okay, where was Cinco de Mayo? The war was in Puebla, and I kept on seeing this Puebla stuff on Univision TV, right? Uh-huh. And so I was like, okay, let me meet these guys. This is nuts, and one day we'll get into it. But the next thing you know, I meet at Plaza Mexico, meet these guys, right? And we're in this room, and I'm talking my talk, and I said, hey, let's go get these entrepreneurs, bring them, and build this Puebla here for Cinco. They're like, hey, we like that. Next thing you know, I'm driving home. I call my wife. I said, hey, I'm leaving for Mexico in 2 days. She's like, where are you going? Where are you going? I call my boss. I say, hey, I got to go to Puebla. I got an idea. She's like, no, we don't have the budget. I said, budgets? I'm going. So I go. We meet with all the entrepreneurs. It was shady stuff. Okay, so they pick me up first. I get in this car, bulletproof, everything, right? We stop outside of Mexico City. He rolls his Ruben Gill, Gill. We stopped. He rolls his window down, looks up, and they're fully loaded, right? These guys. Rolls the window back up, and we leave. And so, hey, receipt, right? I'm like, this is crazy. Fast forward to that, I thought the deal would be done. So now we generate like $1 million in sales. That this entrepreneur is going to come, this entrepreneur is going to come. Hey, I need you to come back one more time. We get in an argument. I'm staying in this hotel in Puebla, brand new. Nobody's there except for me in the entire place. Man, this was crazy, right? We're arguing. I said, fuck no, I can't go back. I gotta come back with the deal. Ruben's like, there's no coming, you're coming back. Fast forward, come back, get kidnapped for 4 days. It was an extortion deal. I get God, that's a whole other podcast. The money gets sent to LA. I get picked up at like 3 a.m. in a van. I'm sitting on the top of the van. There's all these soldiers in the van. They're cartel, right? They ran the cartel in Puebla, and Cat in the Cradle's playing in English. And there's so much more to this story. I land up at the consulate, get a ride, get in the plane. Well, I fall asleep. I'm dead. They wake me up. I'm in that whatever VIP thing they put me in. And I'm on the plane. My family didn't talk to me for 4 days. I survived that shit. And so that made me a different person than who I was. It took it took me up to a whole different level. And my kids are still tripping on that to this day. They remember they were super young, but that was intense.
Okay. Whoa. Let's back it up right now. You got kidnapped.
I got taken.
Where was Liam Neeson at? Nah, just kidding.
No, I wasn't Liam Neeson, but I was pissed. I was tripping.
How did that happen, though? So, could you walk me through what happened?
Yeah,
it doesn't just.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was They basically, they knew this is how it works, and I got so close to these guys quickly. Right. That's just how I do it. And again, I can be anywhere. I'm not tripping by anybody. I'm just not, I'm a humble guy, but, I'm not afraid of who someone is. I can relate, even though, I've never been that, but I've been close to that. So they were running a moving company here in the States. I actually had to move a friend of mine from San Francisco to LA before I went to Puebla.
Okay.
And it turned out to be they were moving hundreds of pounds of blow, these guys. And I didn't know that, but I knew there was a bunch of shady stuff going on. Because the company I was working for, there's a lot of shady stuff in broadcast, you know? And no one wants to admit it. And one day we're going to have another sit down after when we're done, and we're going to really break it down. But yeah, they took me. In fact, this watch, the reason this is so special, my wife got me this watch, but it was 007. It was used. She found it. It was my wedding gift. So when they snatched me, I was so reluctant to give this, and I never had something like this, and that was kind of a big moment. They took it, stripped me down, took everything from me, and then there was this whole extortion process. They wanted me to get more money. I had to go through Puebla in meetings, not knowing if I was going to survive or not. It was just nuts. The money, $1 million something, went to the States, and they thought I was going to go chase the money and give it to them here. I work for a corporate company. I can't go in there and say, hey, give me that $1 million. Once you're back here safe, though, and I was like going crazy at them in certain scenarios. Yeah. They're not hunting you down here, though. It doesn't work.
So they wanted money. And you had to wire them the money? Or how did they get
the money went here. So all the money they took to come to the States to do the Cinco de Mayo, their idea was I was going to sell it. They were going to take it. And they were going to probably take me too. God sent the money, wired the governor of Puebla. We're getting a little into this stuff, but the governor of Puebla was involved too. It's Governor Marino at the time. I believe he was charged with being charged with pedophilia or something like that. And that almost stopped the whole deal. But I just still went through. I mean, I was meeting with these cats at the mansion, at Governor Marino's mansion, which sat on where the war was. And I was sitting at these tables with an interpreter that I didn't hire, that they had. I was the only white dude. Again.
By yourself.
Yeah, by myself. I only use, because, again, I never looked at myself like that. But I did in that circumstance, because the dialect alone, because I could understand a lot of Spanish, but the dialect, I couldn't understand anything. Zero. So they're playing me, I was a kid still. I mean, I was a kid, a little younger than you now, but I mean, you're still young at 30-something,
I don't know what would be going through my mind. What was going through yours? Where you're like, fuck.
I just wanted to see my kids again, my family. I wrote my dad a text. At that time, we had Blackberries.
Yeah, I had one of those.
No one knows. Do you know what that is?
Yeah,
you were right on the cusp.
Yes.
Okay.
With the big old keyboard, but your fingers are too big.
Yeah, it was the coolest technology at the time, though. You're like, and I've searched for that email for years. I basically told him he was starting to get sick, and I told him, hey, you can't get sick. Take care of take care of your family. They lived in a casita right outside the main house, and with my mom, who was nuts, wanting to, not intentionally, but she was killing my dad. So I had to tell him, hey man, I don't know what I said necessarily, but in memory, I'm pretty sure it was like, hey, I might not make it back type of thing, Well,
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, me too, man.
How does something like that, so you're back in the States after all that happened, how does that change your mindset and the direction that you're taking your career?
That's a great question. I don't know if I have an answer to that. I just think what it does is it makes you feel that life can be taken from you quickly, and it gives you the the power inside. I'm a spiritual guy. Like, I believe in a God for everyone, not religious. but spiritual. And it made me believe and know. I knew that whatever I really wanted to do, I would do, but I also knew that I had to navigate through corporate America still. So I was a long ways away from where I am today as far as being free.
I just think something like that just solidified your dreams and your aspirations. Like, okay, I just went through this shit. So that I have a purpose here.
I know you do.
You know?
Tell me what that is. Could you share that?
Well, my purpose is I think I want to give more.
Yeah.
I think for me, we have these selfish moments through our careers where we're trying to build and to be where we're at. And sometimes you have to be that way, right? Like to have those selfish moments to want to accomplish a lot of great things.
Yeah.
But there's a moment where that has to shift.
Yeah.
And you go from being selfish to being giving. And giving more of yourself to others. And I think that constitutes purpose. Like what is it that you're doing to change people, to change the world, change people, change the family around you?
Man.
That's what I feel.
I couldn't agree more. And like, there's a fast forward moment here, but I've been very involved in supporting, the young kids with addiction. Shout out to my nephew, John.
What's up, John?
Yeah, he's 3 years sober, March 19th. And so what I learned through that process too, because I wasn't there yet, what you just said. I got what you just said about gratitude, giving, and all. I've never been money hungry, ever. I never did anything for money. Money comes. I try to tell, but if you have that attitude and you want to be grateful and you want to give and you want to be open to everything, and you come across as a very grateful person. Yes, and sir. Very sincere. And you can't fake that shit. So if it's real, I believe, whether you had the Puebla situation or not, that takes you to a place. I don't wish that on anybody, really. Mm-hmm. But when you're a young guy and you realize that giving is probably the first thing you should think about, that's when you could accomplish everything. It's when that I know I have talent on my roster, man, that could do anything. But egos and attitudes could get in the way. So, and people think they want to give and they think they're humble. But if you're really not, you'll never get to that place you're about to get to. That's how I feel.
Oh, man, that's a bar right there.
Yeah,
Let me tell you something. People that say, I have no ego, and repeatedly say, I have no ego, nobody with egos in this room, chances are, you're probably the one with the biggest ego in the room, man. You don't have to keep on repeating it. People know you can't fake humble, and you can't fake sincerity. People are not stupid nowadays. They will be like, nah, this guy's full of shit.
It's
so,
in your heart. It's not it. I believe truly it starts with some type of spirituality.
Yes.
Because if you don't have that, if you think we're little nothings, like the purpose of life is to find love and have peace and happiness. Your smile, I'm telling you, I'm not. Like, I could tell, a smile is real. Like, so yeah, like your ego is the death of man, the death of man. So there's no place for an ego. Now, when I was in corporate America, I literally be in my car. I literally take my ego out. I put it in my car and I'd go to work Because if you have an ego in that situation, you're screwed. You're getting nowhere. So I learned how to kind of fake it originally. Now in my life, I'm as genuine. I mean, I love myself, you know, I do, because I respect myself, because I know that I give first, you know. The whole Highlight Star, like up until now, this company, it's like just like you. It's no different. You know, investing in yourself and what you believe in, everything's going to happen. So investing, that's the easy part, really. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So again, this company has been about giving, building big projects, and now it's more about my legacy as opposed to, you know, a paycheck. But you got to get there, kind of. And then, hey, success brings paychecks. The movie that you were at, well, you've been at both. Right?
I went to Dominique.
Oh, no. You didn't go to Gringo?
No, I didn't.
Well, okay. We didn't know each other then.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, now we got a new one coming out. I'll tell you about that. Yeah.
Let's go.
That's good. Dominique right now is number 6 on Amazon, that little movie. And hey, is it an Academy Award movie? No, but you know what? I want to tell the audience this. It's a movie. Yeah, it has it's interesting because you have a white John Wick, but everything else is about the community that I love. And the Hispanic community, you know, I want to do everything I can to propel it. And what this little movie showed the studios is that you do content for our audience, the Latino audience. They support, maybe not here in LA like talent-wise, but the people, your audience, and you know your audience is going to expand like crazy. But yeah, it's been a great ride so far with that.
So, how was that transition though? Because you went from radio to movies, to acting, to working with Lionsgate.
Yeah.
Like, how was that transition?
So when I moved out here with Univision, my initiative was to explain to the studios that the Hispanic community watches English language movies. Believe it or not.
My mom does. She does not speak English.
Correct.
But she'll watch the movies with us.
That's and then there's the generations, right? And I always knew, by the way, with Univision, and they would like, Bill, sit over there. We don't want to hear that. I said, what about the third generation? Like, you guys are only thinking about Spanish language. And at that time, though, I knew your mom or you were just a youngster. The family would be interested in big English language movies. Then Fast and Furious comes out. Boom. It was the deck I built for that. So this is how it all happened. I went to all these studios, boom, go to Lionsgate, show them, hey, the Hispanic community was 80% Hispanic across the country that went to that movie. Without the Hispanic community, there is no movie. You know, it's in English language. It did change the trajectory a little bit. So then I built these relationships through Univision. Shout out to Grindstone and Lionsgate, my partners. I love you guys, and we're family. Like the Barry and Stan, shout out to you guys. And you know, we're not only partners, but we're family. And then I was doing business with the UFC. I was the guy who built the UFC Spanish language pay-per-view. So Dana and I and Lorenzo, I was the guy. Dana flew out, came to my office, and he was the first English interview at Univision ever. Dana White. Shout out Dana.
Tejena.
Then we had Tito Ortiz, and then we had a bunch of WE guys. So I took those fighters and we started building movies for Grindstone. Grindstone started to use all these fighters, GSP, BJ Penn, all the old school guys, and those movies killed it. And so I just got my foot in the door. I was a collaborative partner, and when I worked my way out of radio, I knew that I was going to head in that direction.
Is there a reason why you left radio?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So my last radio gig, I became the turnaround guy. So you bring Bill in, he'll take you from, in this case, it was negative 3 million on EBITDA, which is like the net. And El Mandril, he's here in Downey. Last time I was here, he was the morning show. And we took that from negative 3 to like 13 million. I landed up selling that station to the Morello Group. So they wanted out. Grupo Radio Centro wanted out. So I brokered the deal, which is now, what is it? Whatever. It's Power. Okay. What's the other? I don't know. No, Mega I flipped. That was at SBS. I was the one who flipped that too with Raul Alacan, the Cuban guys. That's a whole different story. So I brokered that deal, went over to the Morello Group, and I was like, I needed to get another knee replacement. I was under contract. Radio was dying. I met Mexican Ways at that time, used them to promote the station with El Mandril. I gave them a segment. I gave Jimmy Humilde a segment. Who's the little dude that he hangs out with? Mojito.
Oh,
El
okay.
Mojito.
Yeah.
Hey, El Mojito, I'm still here. How are you doing? Is that dentist deal still going for you? I got him some lawyer thing. I think he still works with him and a dentist.
Oh, the little dude, huh?
Yeah, the little guy. So, yeah, I got through that, and I bounced out, and I wanted to start a social media company and find these influencers that were super talented and wanted to get into acting. And I do a consultant retainer for Grindstone. That's my partner, and they believe in what my initiatives are, And so we started making movies. We made How Gringo Stole Christmas with the team, and we killed it. I'm #1 on Stars for the whole month of December.
I watched it the day it came out.
Yeah, George
I support
Lopez.
it. What?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, hey, a little movie again with Emily Toast and the boys. We had Legend and Mexican Ways and Cisco, my boy, who's doing great. Shout out Cisco. Shout out
my
Legend.
boy Cisco. What up?
Yeah, he's doing good, and they killed it. And hey, this is some great news. Cisco is going to he has his first movie we've been working on from Colombia. No one knows this yet, but it's coming out in June. Diablo.
Oh, shit. Oh, because he's doing the voiceover.
Yeah,
or
no,
is
he is the executive producer with me on that thing.
Oh, shit,
yeah,
no way.
Yeah, we're going to have a great premiere for that one. Yeah.
Anything I could do, you let me know.
Yeah,
I'll promote it.
Oh yeah, we got to come out here and promote that thing. Yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. It's really good, really good.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you got, oh man, that's dope to see everybody. Now I have a great relationship with them. I'm like, man, these guys are making movies. This is crazy. Like this guy made a movie with George Lopez. Like this is crazy.
Yeah,
it's great to see.
Yeah, I don't think we've scratched the surface, man.
This is just the beginning of something great.
It is. Yeah. I got 5 years left. I want to build this company. I got my son's in Miami working for Endurance, shout out Endurance, big sports company agency. My son's first client just won the Super Bowl, Johnny Wilson, from Calabasas.
No way.
Yeah, 6'6", number 89 for the Eagles. So he grew up with us, lived with us, the whole nine. So, spiritual, it all comes back, man. It's just, life is a game, and you got to be open to be humble and gratitude, but it's got to be real, and then you get everything you want. It's not that big of a deal. You got to work on yourself, You
got to work on yourself, and if you're positive and your mindset is right, you're only going to attract great things. But I think when you are thinking negative and have all this bullshit in your mind and you're not thinking in abundance, then you attract what you think. It's like you're attracting a bunch of bullshit. But when your mindset is right and everything else aligns,
I'll tell you something crazy. So, it's got to be 4 years ago at least. So, and there's a group of influencers. Jay Valentino, shout out.
What?
Yeah.
The best DJ comedian in the world.
He really is, man. And he's a sweetheart. See, that's a guy whose heart is right. So it was him, Mexican Ways legend, and one other guy that you know. And I was like, let's make a podcast, and this thing will be massive. Now, I've been around the biggest broadcasters in radio my entire career. Howard Stern, Ryan Seacrest, Piolín, in this space, and I knew. So the ego, it was a conversation. It didn't even go past that. Fast forward, I'm here now. Here's a humble guy on his own, built this, no one knew. Now JR's doing this. So it wasn't the right thing because this crew just couldn't see the vision. And now I'm here. Here's a guy who saw his own vision. And it takes that, if that makes sense. It's my message is, man, guys, especially here in LA, be open to collaborating. And I'm not talking about in a video. I'm talking about put your egos aside and say, man, we got this bandwidth. What can we do with that? Because if you put that's how we sold these movies.
You're right.
So it's just starting, man.
Do you think that mindset and thinking in abundance and not having an ego, does that come with age, or does that come with, well, I was going to say maturity, but I think the older we get, the more mature we get. So where do you think that comes from? Like, can a young person work on that, or it's going to take some time for him to?
I think that you can't look at everything as a competition, and it's about feeling self-confidence, and it's an inner confidence, and I go back to spirituality, man. You can't look, you can't do that. Like, everyone's built business. You gotta have a team. Nobody does anything in life by themselves. Nobody. So yes, you grow as a person. When you become my age, if you're not willing to continue to grow, you die. So as a young person, you gotta, you're either, I think, born with humility though. You gotta find it, but there's, there is good and bad out there,
yes.
So a lot of the guys here in LA specifically, and in the Bay too, when it comes to music, the egos have stunted a lot of success. Being from the Bay in music, and I know personally because I've been in these rooms, the Bay wasn't willing to change its sound. The hyphy movement was so powerful back then that it transcended a little bit out of the Bay, and E40 landed up doing a couple big songs with Little John and these things. Yeah. But that was more of an organic thing. No one really wanted to leave the Bay. So then I came here and I see all this talent. They're not doing it on purpose though. Everyone's just trying to prove they're there. And getting there isn't where they are now. Where everyone is now, and you know pretty much what I'm talking about, without a team and without new ideas, it's very hard to do things on your own. And so I just knew that because I was always on my own, running as a kid, running away, put in a halfway house, all that kind of stuff. I was kind of born with it. A lot of people here, they're hard, they're this. I grew up here, I grew up there. No. I don't think so.
You're right.
I know.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's funny. I live in a beautiful place. Whatever. I'm still who I am, and I was shell shocked for so long. But my kids grew up there too. But they have in the home. They taught humility. They taught perseverance. In sports, get out of this bubble. Let's go to the hood. They, playing football, playing basketball, going to this house, going to that house, bring in, you got to keep it, but you have to have it. I do think if you are born with money and you haven't experienced things or your parents haven't, and it could go with, your dad did this, and then the kids are they're well off, right? Without somebody teaching you this shit and bringing it to your attention, but you got to be willing to accept it, and then you could do anything. This sounds cliche and stupid, but I will tell you this: being in America, man, I promise you. You can do anything. Living here, you really can. And having a small business and growing that, you actually have a license to do anything. Hey, shout out to the new people in charge of our country, because I think more than anything, it's going to give us a chance to grow a little bit more. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And hey, we always got to take care of people. Cisco specifically, man, that kid gets it. He spent this off season really giving back.
Smart kid.
Yeah,
him and his wife.
And yes, part of it is being smart, right? Because you got to do that stuff. But then the front end of it is you want to do it. That's where it gets right. It's like, hey. I'm a good dude. I give.
But do you give because it's coming from your heart, or do you give because you just want everybody else to think you're a giver?
Or do you really give?
Or do you really give?
Period.
That's the question. But in their case, I think he comes from that struggle, and he feels like, man, like I'm making it. I'm doing
Cisco.
X, Y, and Z, and it's time that I just give back.
Yeah.
And that's lovely.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
And everybody should be giving back in whatever capacity they can.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't even have to be monetary, though.
No, it's time. Time
is the most precious thing.
Time. Hey, I've spent the last 3 years in rehab centers, giving speeches, helping these young kids. And then my nephew, seeing what he's accomplished, and giving to people who don't have what we have. Look, whether I had nothing as a kid or not, I just was never a selfish person. It's just not, it's not what I was. So it was easier for me. But I do think people could change in that respect a little bit. You know, it's going to take guys like us to do it, though.
I agree.
You know,
It's like we got to lead by example, right? People, it's easy to talk about it. We got to, you know, for me, you know, I give all the free game on my real estate stuff on my personal page, and I got people sending me DMs like, when are you going to sell a course? Like, why would I sell you a course if I'm giving it for free? Like,
I like,
this is free.
yeah,
This is free.
I love it. And you know what I love, JR, about what you're doing, man? You're a homegrown. I'd like to switch seats too one of these days. Let me be the guy to do that. Because I don't know much, but what I know, what I feel is what I know. And you're giving right now, actually. This is giving LA a platform like this. There isn't one.
See,
there isn't one.
When I started this, right, everybody, you know, LA County is huge, right? So when we talk about California, specifically LA, we always say Los Angeles. It's because it's
right.
It's easy to identify for people, right? Because an outsider is not gonna know where Huntington Park is at. So it's like, for me, it's like, all right, I'm gonna put us in the map, the Southeast, Huntington Park, Bell, Southgate, Maywood, Linwood, all that, you know, because people don't know Cudahy. I'm not leaving Cudahy out. You know what I'm saying? Downey. So it's like, I wanted to put us on the map, and you know, because I know we're not talked about as much, but we have some creative minds, and that's where I'm from. I'm from Huntington Park. What?
Yeah.
And I always put us on the, you know, like,
Man,
it's just I'm proud of where I'm from. This guy grew up in Bell, so
okay,
you know. But it's like, how many people are saying, aside from the Voces de Rancho, are from Bell? So it's like, you gotta have pride. I do.
Man, that's such a good point, because LA, what's
Huge.
LA? Right. I mean, people, that's a great point. I love it.
But you said something very important out there.
Yeah.
Working with Howard Stern.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was great. I mean, I was a kid. You know, I was able to work with the best. I was doing Howard Stern live reads. I was selling that. This is way back before Howard. I mean, KOME was the first station in his simulcast outside of New York, and Mel Karmazin, it was Infinity Radio at the time.
Okay.
And so I hustled for him. And I watched the greatest. I watched a guy become the greatest, and he taught me about, I guess, going for what you want to do and being yourself. You know, back then, nobody wanted a part of Howard Stern. He was
crazy.
Yeah, he was doing
right.
live reads for me for a used car lot in San Jose. He was charging like maybe $2,500 for a live read back then. Fast forward 3 years, he was charging maybe $20,000, and then it became $100,000. You know, and I was the #1 sales kid in the country for Howard. He was writing his first book, Private Parts, and I won. I was going to go to in the limo with Howard, Robin, Fafa Fooley, shout out. Stuttering John, who we almost bought his house. Stuttering John didn't turn out well. I'll stop there. But my back went out, and I'm lying in my place with my girlfriend, my wife, and I couldn't get up, and I couldn't get in the limo. And I was devastated. I literally, has your back ever gone out like that? Yeah. It's only done that a few times. But he taught me about, you know, I was able to just watch and sell him. And then I saw him just 1 market, 2 markets, 3 markets, 30 markets, become the best. And at the time, Carson Daly was overnights. And it just was like, wow, you know?
Do you think Howard Stern and these other successful people in the industry, they have something in common, right? They're very meticulous on things.
They're like this. They're like they are. Howard is. You are young. I really do believe you can be great, like really great. And I'm not surprised. I knew. You know what? This is exactly what I expected, though.
Wow.
Yeah, I really did. The way your hair is, but you got the look, but you're not gonna be out of place. You're not out of place ever. And that's that painting behind there. That's an
iconic moment.
Yeah, that's a crazy
and podcasting. People don't even know. After this guy, because he's smoking. I don't smoke.
I remember this.
The moment he took a puff of that joint on Joe Rogan's podcast, shit went crazy. Tesla stocks went down. Like, he just did so much. And it's such an iconic moment because
it's brilliant.
He was like,
it's brilliant.
Fuck it. He's human. That's the human element.
Well, the reality of life, man. It's like he smoked weed on Joe Rogan's podcast. Half the people that dump the stock probably are popping pills to go to sleep, drinking a whiskey when they get home. That is, I could go on and on. I think what drives me is to those moments and what you just said. It's like, it's the fakeness of society, and it makes me feel like, oh my God, it's so easy to navigate through these people. The country was woke. Trump takes over, it's over. We're run by politics. I never knew that, by the way, until I never, ever looked into politics ever. My entire life. When I was in school, Ronald Reagan was a teak. I was the president of the teak house at San Diego State. How I got there is, I have no idea. I mean, I blew my knee out. My football career never took off. I was going to leave school. I stayed in school. Didn't know how to write. I meet Reagan, believe it or not. You know the movie The Champ? No, it was right.
No,
I was
I
only
don't think
6.
so. Okay.
It's with he opened for Ronald. I'm in a limo with Ronald Reagan going back to my teak house.
What?
Yes. I know. I got a crazy life. I was there. He spoke in our home. I was with the Secret Service. I actually was there for like 30 minutes. And I came home. I told my dad. He's like, fuck Ronald Reagan. I hate Ronald Reagan. I didn't even know what Ronald Reagan was. But he's an actor, my dad said. He's not a politician. So I didn't even know about politics then. I didn't know about it yesterday. Now all I know is, man, it really is a bunch of BS.
Now it seems like they're all actors.
Right. They
so
are.
You don't know what to believe.
There will never be, I believe there will never be a real president of this country again.
No.
Not the way I knew it or heard of it,
Yeah, so
it's a weird
It's
deal.
just a weird situation, and I think it's just making it really tough on who to believe, who to side with. Like now with all the Doge, everybody getting exposed. Like, how do you misplace trillions of dollars? Like, what would happen if good old JR forgets to report some money on his IRS taxes? On what is it, 1040? They will try to punish me. And they will be like, no, you need to be held accountable. How do you misplace trillions of dollars? Who's holding them accountable?
My only response to that is I go back to, man, we're here and we're under the radar. And it is, okay, if that's happening, we can do anything. You can maneuver anywhere you want. It's a good time. Believe
It's a
it or
great
not.
time.
Let all the other people worry about that, you know?
And at the end of the day, I always say, worry about what you can control. You can't control who
Yes.
goes in office. You can't control if he's a Democrat. You can't control if he's a Republican. Worry about what you can control, your actions, what you're doing with your life. Are you living a life of contribution? Are you being a great dad, great brother, great sister, Worry about that. Focus on that on a daily basis. And focus on being better.
Easy. Oh, thank you. Thank
You know what I mean? So, yeah, but it's some crazy times. But I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Man, it's never been big. I'm telling you, this for me, I'm going to say it a million times. My kids will watch the spirituality. It's all a destiny. Nothing's a coincidence. Nothing in life is a coincidence. It's not. It's supposed to be this way. And yeah, look, all this other stuff that I never thought about, the only thing I've thought about now is like, okay, it's a distraction. Great.
Yeah.
You know, let's take care of our own people. Let's get everyone together here. Let's dominate. And would that becomes, some monetary gain and all that stuff. But, you have a longer time on this earth now than I do. And I really don't give a shit, to be honest. I just want my kids to grow up and be happy and thrive. You do your part, and the last thing I care about is Doge. But to your point, hey, low key, you'll be fine. You got a small business, My lawyer told me something really dope. I'll tell you off air.
Like, to me, it's like we're gonna be fine no matter what. Oh my God, Trump's in fucking office. It would have been the same if Kamala was in office. You can't control that.
Honestly,
You just focus on being better every day. And that's it. People like to. I read something where it says, don't think about the future and don't think about the past. Think about the now.
Yes, live in the moment.
Live in the moment.
Live in the moment. In fact, I'm living in the moment right now.
And that is so true. Once you
Yes.
take back, as cliche as it sounds, that makes a lot of sense, because I think thinking of the future does create a lot of anxiety. And I think thinking of the past creates a lot of regret. So why don't you just live in the moment and the now? Worry about now. Worry about your family, everything you got going now.
JR, you just handled it, and that's a bar. Resentment, right, is evil. There's good and there's bad. Mm-hmm. Resentment is evil. And if you have resentment, you'll never get to the next level. You'll never be happy, because ultimately, if you're happy, you're successful. And being happy is a journey. We're human. So we have moments, right, where you're like, it's the greatest thing in the world. And then you can wake up, it's raining, and you got to put your pants on, and you got to get to work, and you got to do shit to support your family and yourself and your loved ones and all that stuff. But you can't do any of that with resentment. And there's steps to it. And in this recovery world that I've been engaged in, what recovery teaches you is how to live without drugs and alcohol, right? Uh-huh. Or sex. It could be anything.
It could be anything.
It could be work. It could be addiction's massive, right? I think I'm definitely an addictive person, 100%. But it teaches you about, if you don't have some type of form of understanding about spirituality, something greater, and then gratitude, humility, that's how an addict recovers. But what's funny is that's how human beings need to think, So I'm a big believer in all this stuff, just being a better human being and growing. It's what we do.
I think resentment rots you inside out. And I think you need to sometimes not sometimes. You need to just let shit go. You need to learn how to forgive.
making amends.
Yes, like, why would you want to let that resentment that happened 10 years ago from a person that you probably don't even talk to and could give two shits about you, let that shit just keep on fucking ruining your day in and day out? Forgive. It's fine. Learn how to just say, you know what, it is what it is. It happened, and I'm okay with it. I forgive this individual. You're going to free yourself from all the bullshit that comes with it.
Man, I mean, struggles are real. Like, people don't even realize. Like, they don't even realize, like, people, we're so blessed. And to have resentment over something petty, being petty, this world, this whole internet thing and all this stuff, and this is my business, it's crazy. But I have a plan to like, expose the downside and bring up the upside. I don't know anyone in our world that we know, right, that's talented, that should have anything but gratitude. And then there is no resentment, because if a guy kidnaps you, have resentment, I'm never letting it go, right? Something so critical, right?
Yeah, that's something different.
Okay.
Like, it's a pass.
Yeah, like you're not gonna welcome them into your home, right? But like the words destroying, and it's just overused. No one's trying to do that to anybody, unless it's a hate group or something like that. I love everybody.
I think that in the Latino community, resentment weighs heavy in a lot of people, and it has a lot to do with how we were raised culturally and how we were like, nah, fuck that, and that machista shit kicks in. Bro, you ain't gotta be tough for anybody, bro, or ma'am. You got to just learn how to let shit go, because it's fucking weighing on you day in and day out. Learn how to just forgive and move on.
I completely agree, and I understand that, but I will say, whether it's the Latino, the Jewish, the Italian, those three are very similar, actually, in a lot of ways. It's up to us to we got to change that. Like, it's the newer generation that could put the resentment behind, right? Yeah. And we grew up with challenges, all of us pretty much. I don't think you become a creative genius, though, if you grew up behind the gates. It's very hard to do that. So we've been blessed by the obstacles. So again, yes. I'm older, so resentment. Yeah, the young, like the 35 to 50-year-olds are still figuring it out.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. Now let's get back to the episode.
I need to figure it out ASAP.
Yeah.
We think we got time, but we don't. So you take advantage of what you have in front of you. Life changes really fast. I'm gonna say what's in my heart right now. You know what I'm saying? So I had to put my dog down on Sunday.
Oh man, I am so.
And then anybody that says that it's just a dog,
no,
it's not just a dog.
Thank you for being here today.
I'm
not even.
I'm like, dude, it just. First of all, I was kind of sick because my son got me sick. And I think that just kind of like, oh my God, what it did to me. I'm like, 11 years I raised my dogs. I had to put the other one down 2 years ago. But it just showed me how life is so fragile. And things could change just from 1 minute to another. And it's just like, holy shit, we had to put her down because she was, and I was just like, damn, we are all going to go that way. We all have an expiration date. No matter what. And I couldn't fucking comprehend that. I was just having a struggle like, damn, like, oh my God. Like, it's like, it was just very difficult for me to accept it. And I think it did more to me than it was just, I started thinking a lot. I'm like, damn, unfortunately, we all have an expiration date, and I think we need to be more thankful and more appreciative of what we have in front of us now, because shit could change. And when it changes, yeah, it could get you by surprise, and it's just not cool.
It's brutal. And hey, what was your dog's name?
Roxy.
And
it's tough.
I lost my dog, Sapphire, about a year ago. I've lost humans in my life, okay? A bunch. And Sapphire, man.
Shit hurt.
Her ashes are right by my bed. So I am sorry. And it's dogs, to me, are the most precious. They are the biggest blessing. Like my dog, I have a dog still, her brother, Buddy. Uh-huh. He's 15, sleeps with Shauna and I every night. And dogs are, man, I know what you're going through.
Man, it's
so
like,
sorry.
Yeah,
it's like
tough.
losing your family member, a person. I'm with you.
I consider myself a pretty tough guy, but I wasn't tough that Sunday.
No,
I bawled. I cried like I was fucking 5 years old. Like, I'm talking about like snot everywhere. Just like, oh my God, what is happening?
Yeah. Did you take her to the clinic to?
Well, she woke up in the morning. She didn't want to get up. It's not her. Her breathing was crazy.
Yeah,
she's old. She's 11. 11 is old for a bulldog.
Okay. Jeez, that's such a short life.
So then I was just like,
short.
So then it just happened so fast. And they're like, dude, she's going to die. So, and my selfish was like, no, let's take her home. So she could pass at home. I'm like, I can't, I can't do that. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. So we had to put it down.
And that is that decision that when we put Sapphire down, this is a year ago, I was going into surgery that next day at like 7 a.m. And we bring her back after, and it was her breathing. It's like 2 a.m. I was like, because my son was home. I go, I can't go into surgery and leave. And my wife and I took her, and we cried like babies.
Yeah,
so,
it was tough.
Yeah,
my whole family cried. They were just like,
oh my God.
Like, so, but it's just, whoever lost a pet, people think, they're just dogs. No, they're not just dogs. So I feel your pain.
I do too.
You know what I mean? It's just, but it just shows you how you need to be appreciative of every day.
It's having that ability though to love an animal. What I believe is, like, if we were interviewing, right, like outside of a podcast, like for a job or something, that's a question I ask always.
Really?
Oh, 100%. Hey, do you have pets? Oh no, I don't have pets. You don't have pets? Why not? They're dirty. They're this or that. They're clingy. Okay, the interview usually lasts like 2 minutes.
Get your ass up. You got to go.
It really shows if you're a compassionate human being or not. Like wanting that, it's a commitment too, right? And so there's a lot of ways to kind of figure people out. Pets are definitely one of them.
And then my wife is like, well, you were great to her. And I start looking back. I look back and I'm like, she lived a hell of a doggy life. She didn't drink tap water.
Right. I love that.
My dog did not drink tap water.
I love that. See, you're like that
guy.
You're like that. I knew it. You could tell.
Like, we're not gonna. I don't fucking drink tap water.
Yeah.
Why will my babies drink tap water? It's not gonna happen.
I love it.
So and then she was like, she was spoiled, and I was like, but she loves me unconditionally. Like, she didn't want no fucking anything from me. She just wanted me to rub her belly. That's what she would do. She'll throw something.
Yeah.
So.
It's raw. It's raw.
To me, I was a good dad. to her. So at the end of the day, do I want another pet? I don't think I can handle that. No more. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But it's not the way to think, right? It's not, I think I should be open
Let
to
it breathe.
Right
Let it
now, I'm
breathe.
not open to it, but maybe in 2 years, I'll be like, all right. So
Let it breathe, of course. Yeah. When Buddy passes, and I'm not in any hurry. God, I love that dude. I'll be driving home tonight, and I'll miss him. Buddy, shout out. But we're gonna travel. We haven't traveled the world yet because our kids always came first, giving everything to them, and then and believe it or not, our dogs. Now
yeah, who are you gonna leave them with?
No one.
No one. I mean, they have these pet hotels.
No.
We're like,
no.
nah.
I've done it once.
Nah,
No.
fuck that.
No, you can't.
My dogs eat specific, like
Right.
they would. I trained them to not ever pee or poop in their crate or their little station. They had to get walked.
That's
was like,
amazing.
Who the fuck is gonna walk them? Like Roxy's not gonna want to go to the bathroom. She's gonna want to hold it. So it was just hard. So
Hey, I get Buddy, so I move my Buddy up to what I buy now. Wood Ranch.
ooh, that's good.
Yeah, what's they chop it up.
Tri-tip.
Tri-tip. I get him the tri-tip, and I put that, and then I have chicken and dog food. Like I treat him like that. Like like you know what
He's a
he
king.
he gave me. It's the least I could do. This guy gives me so much love. I come home, shit.
Roxy was Mexican because she liked those Mexican cookies. She loved those cookies. And then towards the end, when we were like trying to give her the cookies, she didn't want it. We knew.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Thank you for sharing this, though,
Yeah,
because
man.
I feel it. I know.
It's
I
like,
know.
I felt like I had to get it off my chest.
No.
It's like therapy right here.
Yeah, no, it's real, man. It's like unless you're not an animal person, you don't get it.
Yeah.
What? You're hey, I'm not coming into work today. Like my dog passed. I gotta, I'm in mourning. What?
Yeah, I've been in mourning all week. Like I got like ADU projects going on, and I was supposed to go check to make sure that garage was empty. Ask me if I've done it. I'll do it tomorrow.
is
I'm
that?
feeling better.
What is an
So I'm
AU?
building. So I have a property that has 3 units already, and we're building two additional dwellings.
Amazing.
So then I'm converting that garage into a single, and I'm adding a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. But my tenants had their stuff in there, so I gave them enough time. I was supposed to go Tuesday, but this.
Hey,
like,
not bad from a
extra
kid.
days. I was like extra days.
Not bad for a local boy, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud.
Thank you
I'm
so
proud
much.
to see this success, and you're doing it like under the radar, and you're just growing. And the word, hey, I was on the phone. Where are you going? Hey, I'm going to CJ. I said, yeah. Oh, he's doing great. I go, I know he's doing great. Yeah,
That's lovely. That means everything to me.
no, it's facts.
So let's go back to radio. I want to
True
bring up
hustle,
something
baby.
really important, and I want your thoughts on it. Radio is slowly, I want to say,
Eroding,
yes,
dying.
yes, little by little. Do you think these platforms have a lot to do with that?
All right.
That's a good one.
I never looked at myself as an innovator. Like I always had ideas, and I always went against the grain. It's just who I am, because I just believe in stuff, right? So the last radio gig, and this is how I met, again, Mexican way. I met with all the influencers, right? Met with Mexican Ways, and I love the kids. This is, man, probably 8 years ago or something.
No shit.
Yeah. I've been
a
with those
while.
boys for a long time, yeah. Hyro's running operations for Highlight Stars. Shout out Hyro.
Shout out, my
Yeah,
boy.
shout
Hyro.
out Brian, too. Shout out Brian.
Brian.
So I went and pitched the ownership. I said, the way radio will survive is you pull it off live, you save all that money, you find the best podcasters, they do it from their own studios, and you'll be able to say, and if people are listening to the podcast on other platforms, but they also could get it on their AM, FM radio, it'll give them options. And then that talent could do live segments throughout the week, but they'll pre-recorded live, right? Mm-hmm. These podcasters aren't broadcasters. They don't know, da-da-da. And then it hit me. I was like, well, wait a minute. When I first started in radio, I would go, and Howard was going on vacation, right? He would pre-record his show. And so let's say Nickelodeon was doing a deal, and Howard and they bought Howard. They would that's probably not the best example, but let's just say it was them. I had to call the buyer and say, hey, heads up, this is pre-recorded. And they would say, we don't want to be on this week. Pull our schedule. And I would say, well, no one knows that it's not live. They'd say, I know. Okay. Pulled. I'm like, fuck. You know, that's revenue for me, right? And, but those ratings would be either as good or greater. Howard Stern was doing a podcast when he started. The big people would listen to the shows over and over again. When he was on vacation, those were pre-recorded. So podcasting has been going on forever. It just finally elevated itself to here. So to answer your question, it's cut and dry. Radio is completely dead. FM and AM radios will be obsolete very soon. When I was still in radio, and this was conversation back when Twitter launched, and I was still at Univision. Like, we can see it coming. Sitting here today and being a part of radio for 25 plus years, this is radio. We can go to Univision right now. I can set up a meeting with the guys who run it, who I hired. Okay. Shout out Jason. They would, they haven't taken the time to realize how they could still save it. We walk in and show, and we would never do that because this is way bigger than that. I think they finally might get it. This is radio.
I agree.
This is radio. I'll listen to whatever I want to listen to, either on my phone or in my car, and it's this. It's True Hustle. This is radio. That's where you don't realize, like, your trajectory, and you know what you're doing, and you're the real deal. You know, this is the only future. Radio, the only way they generate revenues, it's not through radio's like a throw-in now. Who the hell, when we did Dominique, right? I walked in, I had like seven racks. I said, hey, look. And the guy who was running it just got blown out, okay? And he's the guy I sold my station to. And he was like, hey, because they're haters, because radio hates this, right? They're like, hey, here's a schedule, and then we'll get you on the morning show of power and blah, blah, blah. I said, no. I don't want spots. I just want to, it's a vibe. I'm not trying to sell the movie through this format. I just want a vibe. And they couldn't even understand that. Took the money, left, didn't do any radio. And I realized I'll never do radio. The song I played you, okay, this is a foreshadow, because that's a cheat code. I'm not saying it's the best song on the planet. I think it's good. I think it's catchy. I think the younger market's going to love it. We're not going to radio to promote that. We're going to our platforms to promote that. We got a video that could land up on YouTube channel. Well, it is. It's going to launch on a YouTube channel with a million point whatever subscribers. We'll be on 30 of those. This is it. This is it.
If you would have told me this 20 years ago, I would have said no.
I would have said yes. Now Howard would say, what is this podcast bullshit? Blah, blah, blah. He didn't want to get it. He didn't care about it. But that was because he was kind of protecting what it was. But when he went to Sirius, it became a podcast. You go to Sirius, you listen to any radio host or whatever you want to call it. You're not catching it live. You're listening to it pre-recorded.
Yeah.
This is going to be a sellable business. Like, this is what they're looking for now. And hey, the Latino market, see, the cream. It's the only, well, it's funny because I have no interest, zero, in making a movie, in working with a content creator, in an artist, maybe an artist, and we haven't gotten into the whole music side, but maybe an artist. There's some, Caucasian artists, and I'm not being racist or anything. I could say this because, I am white. But there's no vibe, and it's convoluted, and it's oversaturated in everything, This is why I was so excited about this, because I see an up and coming guy, and I've been in there. Like, I programmed this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I know what I'm looking at, and it's exciting. And that question is, I'm so passionate about it because I know, and this is the future. Just keep on going, man.
It's crazy to me to be able to say we created our own platform and we get our own views.
Didn't you?
Over 100 million views.
Didn't you?
And it's just at a click of a button, just boom, upload, post.
I love it.
Just boom, boom, boom. Mind blowing to me.
If I was still running radio, whatever group, you and I would have sat down at least a year ago. These guys, all the people that are running radio would be someone like me without the ability to see the future and want to see it, because these guys, these executives, have never evolved. They never evolved into new media. And that's what killed it. They didn't want to listen to innovation. And that's why.
Are they another Blockbuster?
Yes, they are Blockbuster. They're Best Buy hangs in there somehow, but they're Blockbuster, they're Warehouse Records,
Circuit City.
Oh. Guys, I used to do, oh my God, Circuit City. I did so much business with Circuit City back then.
You know who I think gets it? Well, I got to shout out Brown Bag, Brown Bag Podcast. And they incorporated, what is it, 92.3?
Yeah, they were Power. They're
okay,
Power.
So then they incorporated Brown Bag podcast into their show. So they kind of get it.
You
right?
know, yeah.
Shout out to Brown Bag.
Yeah, shout out to Brown Bag. So what it's like people are different, right? Your pod, yes, that has a niche. Mm-hmm. For you, what I believe is you can transcend into the total market. And that is what makes you unique. It's your ability to be stout, be humble, communicate, and your content. You're learning about somebody. You know, you're learning about your audience. It's just a totally different format. You know what I mean? Your format is mainstream. You know, your format can get any type of person on it.
This is broad.
I call that total market, general market.
I don't just get a piece of the pie. I'm marketing to the whole pie.
Correct.
Hey, you know, I'm just a kid from Huntington Park. You know what I mean?
I love it. What I was most excited about this, the people I know, it's gonna broaden the audience from, you know, this is exciting. Yes, you know how to interview.
Thank you so much.
It's just a different type of thing, you know?
I just think it's important to just want to learn about somebody and genuinely just sit there and be like, oh, we're talking. I don't, people be like, where's the list of questions that you have? Are you hiding them under, like, where? You see this? Where am I hiding them from? Like,
I know.
I understand that takes a skill, you know, but it's like, I really enjoy it though. I really enjoy having, you know, getting to know somebody and their story. Like, and I'm almost as excited as some of our guests. They're like, oh, shit, that's good. I'm like, yeah, well, I enjoyed it, you know.
Who's your favorite artist? I know that's a loaded question. And just overall, music artist.
Music artist. Shit.
Or give me.
I like J. Cole.
Okay, great. That's a good one. So, and I go back to Howard on this. So, what I do see you though sooner than later when you're interviewing J. Cole. That's the guy you might have some. You like Howard would go through. Like this dude. He started out like you. Mm-hmm. When you meet with J. Cole, you'll make sure you don't want to miss this part or something like that, mm-hmm. right? So, yeah. But getting to know somebody, you don't need questions.
Getting to know somebody, having a 2 to 2.5 hour conversation.
It's beautiful. I love
that.
it. I love it. I love it.
So it's not easy, but I enjoy it. Like, I could go on for hours, you know, just talking about it, getting to learn from somebody's, getting to learn and getting to, you know, sit here and hear that story in the now, like live, is just like kind of like mind blowing. Like, oh shit, you know,
that transcends though, like your excitement. This is what makes you different though. And when we went to Jay's show, yeah, you're very, you're meant for this. You're meant for this.
Thank you.
I look forward to coming back. We're gonna there's gonna be some big growth.
I'm looking forward to it.
Where would you put the spot? Like if you had, because it's so clean, that's going to be your toughest thing. You know what your toughest challenge is going to be?
What?
Your toughest challenge is going to be to let go a little. And people use the word sellout. It's not. I mean, that is ridiculous, by the way. And I'll talk about an album we're releasing with Kaneo in a little bit, but you're going to struggle with... They're going to say, hey, okay, we need to be here. And you're going to be like, wait a minute. No. You can't be here. Look, I'll have you here, the signage or however that works out, or you're going to have to open the door because you've been so self-sufficient with yourself and
you're absolutely
it's so
right.
clean. Oh, I already know. Because you can feel it.
No.
Like this is the cleanest. By the way, if you haven't been in here, it's beyond. It's clean, but it's homey, and it's bright, but it feels super safe and calming, and everything just hits. But it's so meticulous. The boy is meticulous.
And that is the hardest thing that I'm going to deal with when we transition to, we got something coming. I don't want to say it because it's not done yet. But when it does, that is what I'm stressing out over. I'm like, I got to duplicate it. And I got to make sure that it's like this and like that. And we're going to do this. And
a new space.
Yeah, and I'm beating myself up over it. I'm like, we're gonna duplicate it, but it's gonna be the same. But we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. It's gonna be way bigger and this and that, you know. So,
yes, growth is not easy. It really isn't. You got it, but without growth and without challenging yourself from the perspective of being uncomfortable, right? And that is your next step, because you've already accomplished something very big, and you could stay right here and it will grow and grow and grow, and you could be very, very successful, and you could get to the next level. But where you're going, you're going to position yourself to be the biggest. True Hustle, I believe, will be a national brand. I guarantee it. Trust me.
I told him, I always tell, not just JT or whoever's around me.
And JT, by the way, shout out, you're super dope. Amazing vibe. This is an incredible team.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, like, when people start growing and they start experiencing some success, they kick their feet up. And that is the biggest mistake. Me, I start experiencing success, and I'm thinking of how am I going to just be better? Like, I need to grow more.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need this other? Oh, because I see where it's going. And I need to make that step now because I want it to be a hell of an experience to be on True Hustle Podcast. And I want it to be in the, like, holy shit. Damn, like, this is dope. That's what I want. Let's fucking keep our fingers crossed.
Oh yeah, no, all you got to do is just keep on being you. You already, you don't look. You run a real estate company. You were like, hey, I'm gonna start a podcast. So, and then you got here. I go back. We could count it. Probably the 20th time it's in spirituality. This is your destiny, man. You don't get this far doing something that you kind of dropped into, in a sense, that you just let yourself do it, right? You know what? The mics are fire. Everything's clean. This place is dope as it is right now. I love this. I love
details. Details matter, people. Details.
So I cheated my whole way through high school. When I took vocabulary tests, I had, when the Walkmans first came out.
Oh,
I would take the tests, and the reason I'm bringing this up, I'd hear punk. I remember this is the only, it worked. They should institute this in school. Punctilious. Number 4, because I got the test. Number 4, fastidious. Number 5, meticulous. Those 3 represent you. Those are some of the, I have big vocabulary words from that test that I cheated on. But those fastidious, punctilious, and meticulous, that's my boy
that's
JR.
JR right there.
And super smart. You got a partner here.
Yep.
It takes a team.
We're going to close it out with this.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody that's trying to get into the entertainment space? Oh, actually, we didn't even touch on the music side.
Yeah, let's do that real
let's
quick,
touch on the music side.
Yeah, and this goes back to, I think in life, all these great questions you've asked, you follow your passions and, you persevere and with kindness, humility, all that stuff. So when we made Dominique, my kids are heavily into music. My son started a label when he went to Brown. My son went to Ivy League, played football. Shout out Sam, shout out Zach, shout out Shauna.
Shout out.
I love you so much. Started a label. I've always been engaged in the music thing. In fact, when SoundCloud came out and all these artists, again, I pitched Power, told them they're working with all the wrong artists. They were like, oh, well, they need to, Kodak Black needs to do this, this, and this. They weren't playing any of that stuff, right? So I've always been in it. So then I get to Dominique. I hook up with Kaneo, who I always knew about, Kaneo the rapper, super incredible actor. His story's ridiculous. He's like this magical man because you don't do what he's done and do this. Hooked up with, shout out 3013 Worldwide. Rick One is a brilliant producer. My producer, Jono, there's so many shout outs. Jono Smithers, who he was the lead guitarist on Kaneo's whole album. We just worked with NLE Choppa. Kaneo has a new album coming out, Seagill, which represents spirituality and really kind of what he's all about. He has these, he presents some chaos, but he's a message artist. And we are about to just clobber the music world. We have a new sound and we have a studio. We have 3013. We have an incredible team. Jono Smithers, at 13 years old, was invited to Berklee College of Music.
At 13?
At 13 years old, back east. He's been in the studio, with every star you could imagine in the last 6 months. He's the best guitarist in the world. I know it sounds crazy, but when he started on Kaneo's new album, which when you hear it, I believe we're going to get into the Lollapaloozas within a year with that band, okay? And it's crossing over with the Latino community and everyone else. And so, Highlight Star Music has been launched. There's so much more to come. We have one of our big influencer stars coming out with a song on the 14th. When will this drop?
This will drop on Monday.
On Monday. Okay.
So I'll be on time.
Yeah. So, hey, look out for Healing on all platforms. You're going to see the video and you're going to see what we've done with a major content creator it will be pushed on some of the biggest social platforms. No radio, but back to radio. They'll be calling me up. They'll be calling me up because I think this song is going to be a cheat code and it's going to hit the charts because we have the power, just like we have the power to make movies, just like we have the power to do True Hustle podcast, and these guys are doing it in the broadcast studios and no one's listening. So that's what it is, man. It's new media, it's humility, it's gratitude, it's setting the stage for the new generation and teaching them how to be real entrepreneurs. corporate America, man, I want to, we'll do that later. But you know what? There's really no place for it anymore. There's no growth. When I was getting into radio, I wanted to be a GM. I wanted to run that station. Now, they're like, nobody wants to do anything. They want to just keep their jobs. You're hoodwinking everyone right here. That's it. So our music, I would rather promote our music right here than go to any group. iHeart, Univision, the Morello Group. Pfft, it's not our audience. They're old. They're old. They don't want to learn. They don't want to hear shit. They don't want to, they don't have personality. You're not a DJ. You're a content creator, real estate mogul, businessman who knows how to speak to people. The DJ days are over. Whoa, this is 95.3 and look out for us. We're coming. No, there's no shenanigans. We're taking everything we've learned and we're freaking going with it because we have nobody stopping us telling you, JR, this is a bad idea. You don't need, what? Like, you don't need to worry about whether, the PPM rating, that's how radio's graded, by PPM. You know what that means?
No.
People meter. So people get these meters in the mail. So the DJs in radio, guess what they're doing? They're going buying out that shit, and all the ratings aren't even real. It's all a facade, everyone. Fuck. This is real. Every view, every like, it's real. So, yeah, we're bringing music, we're bringing podcasts, we're bringing entertainment, and we control it because we have the bandwidth right here. That's right here. That's it. Shout out to my boy Kaneo. Man, you're an inspiration. And I can't wait to release this new album. And then we're working with this young lady, man. It's a rat. She happens to be Caucasian. She's beautiful. And she's gonna be a star. So we got people coming in from Houston. We're signing this guy and that guy. I want to throw these names out, but the contracts are, we're in the middle of some negotiation and points, but we're not like publishing. It's like about the team. It's no one's trying to screw over anybody. We're taking, Highlight Star is taking everything I didn't like from corporate America, and we're letting everyone wins. I'm last. I don't need to win. You winning, seeing you flourish, seeing Jay flourish, seeing all our boys flourish, that's winning for me. And so I'll leave with this, man. I know what's legit and what's not, and when you're in control of what you have and you have a vision and you've built this thing up from the ground, I tell all our guys that. Having 400,000 followers that engage on your social media, Jay Valentino selling out shows and doing his thing, man, just keep on doing it and just believe, and it happens. But be open to opinions and ideas because wisdom is what helps that stuff. So, yeah, music is in the horizon. Starts on the 14th with our release, and then Kaneo's release I think will be later in March.
And there you have it, baby. Bill, I appreciate you, my brother. You're the man. I appreciate you stopping by. I know you're busy, but you took the time, and it means everything to me, man.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to watching all your projects, and anything I can do to help you, let me know.
Honestly, I want you in some of these projects.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss our weekly episodes. Let's go, baby.